ज्ञानञ्जन चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रसाय भूतले स्वामिनिधि नामने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी भाष्यार्थ देशधारिणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Happy welcome to everybody. We will continue our readings from the 7th chapter of second kind of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmovacha Yatrotyadakakushiti Talodaranaya Bubrat Graudim Danum Sakalayanyamayim Anandaha. One minute. Andarmaharnava Ubagadam Adi Daityam Tam Drashtayadrim Ibavajra Daro Dadara.
Translation. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodak, the first demon Hiranyaksh appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk.
Yeah, thanks, Prabhu. For this whole chapter, just translation is enough because it's a well-known pastimes. Fine. So when Hiranyaksha, because of his demonic activities, he made the earth to fall down from its original position. He kidnapped Bhumi Mata, and he kidnapped Bhumi Mata and kept it under the ocean, Garbho ocean, in the bottom portion of the ocean, in the filthy portion of the ocean. So naturally, the Lord appeared as Varaha Avatar, and he lifted the earth, again installed the earth in its original position, in its original orbit. So in the course of his wonderful pastimes, he killed Hiranyaksha also. So naturally, there are 2-3 versions of killing Hiranyaksha. Some acharyas have the opinion that he killed him using his hand, and sometime the opinion is raised that he killed them using his tusk. Then the reconciliation is sometime made. He killed them first. He killed them by the hand, then he pierced them again with tusk, like that. So small difference of opinion between acharyas. Otherwise, we can say 2 versions are there. So Varaha Avatar, if you want to see Varaha Avatar, you have to go to Singhasalam near Visakapatnam. So one can see a combined form of Varaha and Narsimha in that temple, worshipped by Sri Vaishnavas, huge temple, visited by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his South Indian visit. First, he entered inside Kurmasthar into South India. Then next temple he visited Singhasalam here. But the deities are always kept inside, just like a linga form. Sandalwood bulb is always smeared on the body of the Lord. So 3 days in a year, one can go there and see the form of Varaha Nrsimhadev Bhagavan. Text number 2. Jadorucher Ajanagat Suyamana Sujanja Agu Disunur Amarana Dakshinaya Lokatrayasya Magadim Akharat Petartim Swambhuvena Mauna Hariridi Anuktaha. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. The Prajapati first begot Suyanjana in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Suyanjana begot demigods headed by the Suyamanaha. In the womb of his wife Dakshinaha, Suyanjana as the Indradeva dimensioned very great miseries in the three planetary system, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he so demonized the misery of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Swambhav Muni.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Man-
Correction. So we have different kinds of incarnation. So this particular incarnation comes under the category of Manvandara Avatar. So during the time of Swambhav Manu, the Lord took one kind of incarnation as the son of Siyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. And he played a dual role. He played the role of demigod Indra also, and he played the role of the Manvandra Avatar for that particular time period also. So he played a dual role. So he was known by the name Hari, because Hari means stealing or diminishing or taking away. So he diminished the miseries of that world, material world, in that particular time period of Swayambhu Manu. So that is the reason he was known as Manu. So we had different kinds of incarnations. We have Purusha Avataras. Then we studied about the descriptions of three Purusha Avataras in his Srishti Leela in the last 4-5 verses of the last chapter. Then we have the list of Leela Avatar in the in the second kind of Srimad Bhagavatam here actually. Then in the 8th kind of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will study in detail about the different Manvandra Avataras taken by the Supreme Lord in different Manvandras. Then we have Yuga Avataras also. Lord Chaitanya can be counted as a Yuga Avatara also. But basically he is Channa Avatar. The Yuga Avatara for Kalki will appear. In one sense, he has already, his father and mother is staying there in that particular village known as Kalapa in South India, in Andhra Pradesh state. So the Lord will appear as his son of a Brahmana. But later on, he will mount a chariot, so he will mount a horse, and he will do the activities of a Sadriya, and he will kill all the impious kings of that material world. He will go to Sri Lanka also. He will marry Lakshmi, who will play the role of the daughter of the king of Sri Lanka. That is said in Kalki Purana. So Prabhupada speaks about the accuracy of the Puranas. Mayavadis generally don't give serious attention to the authority of Puranas. In that way, they want to deprecate the value of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is a Purana. But Srimad Bhagavatam is not just a Purana. It is the essence of all the Vedanta Sudra, but written in the form of a Purana. That's all. So it's not just a Purana. But that is duplicitous activities of Mayavadis. So we can see, of course, modern day scientists also don't accept the authority of the Vedas. So Prabhupada, he quotes these points again and again. Mayavadis and modern day scientists, they don't accept the authority of the Puranas for different reasons. We know the reasons. Scientists, they may say this is imaginary, many things that it does not match with the day-to-day experience of the human beings. People fly in the sky and they live for 10,000 years, etc., etc. But we have to accept Puranas because they are known as Panchama Veda. They are part of Vedas. They are known as Panchama Veda in the wordings of great Acharya Madhva. Text number 3. Sanjecha Kardamagrahe Duvijadeva Khudyam Strivihi Samam Navabir Atmagadim Swamatre Yuche Ayatma Samalam Gunasangapangam Aspin Viduya Kapilasya Gadim Prapede. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Translation. The Lord then appeared as the Kapila incarnation, being the son of the Prajapati Brahmana Kardama and his wife Devahuti, along with 9 other women sisters. He spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which in that very lifetime she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved liberation, the path of Kapila. Hare Krishna.
So this is a very important incarnation. Devahuti Putraka Kapilaha. So the Lord will appear as a son of Gardama Rishi, and Devahudi. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, we will study about the Leelas done by the Supreme Lord in this respect for in many chapters, practically speaking, some 10-15 chapters, 10-12 chapters. So Gardama, as per the order of his father, Lord Brahma, though he is qualified, he is a pure devotee, he wanted to create progeny for the matter of spreading the knowledge of Sankhya Tattva and transcendental knowledge within this material world. So it's not that he wanted to beget children for the sake of enjoying the senses. He wanted to have some qualified son for the purpose of preaching transcendental knowledge within this material world. So the Lord, he himself advented as the son of Gardama, and he took the son of the role of Mother Devahudi. So as soon as then Gardama, he took the Vanaprastha of the life. Then later on, Devahudi asked about the signs of self-realization to his son, Lord Kabila. So Lord Kabila explained that transcendental knowledge in such a way, because the question was asked by Devahudi in a very beautiful way. He asked that, please explain the relationship between the Purusha Avataras to their material energy, and please chalk out the ways for the Jiva to get out of this material energy also. So naturally, we already discussed about Purusha Avataras and his place and material energy in the last portion of last chapter. So naturally, he spoke devotional Sankhya Tattva. Sankhya Tattva, he spoke about the he spoke about the analysis of the material elements also, but he spoke about the analytical study of the material elements in relation with the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So that particular portion of Srimad Bhagavatam, the third canto, is known as Kapila Gita or Sankhya Gita, and we all are going to have a very detailed study of that particular Sankhya Tattva within a short time, correct? We are already in the 7th chapter of 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text number 4. Adrer apatyam abhikankshada aha dushto datto mayaham idi yad bhagavan sataddaha yad padabangajavaraha pavitradeha yoga riddhimapur ubayim ed hayhayadyaha. Yes.
Translation. The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son Dattatreya, Datta, the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Haihayas, etc. became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings.
Again, this particular Leela is explained in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atri prayed for a qualified son like God, but his desire, unlike the desire of Yasoda or Vasudev, it's material. Yasoda, Vasudev, they all received Krishna as their son because of their intense Vatsalya Rasa. It's not that they wanted to satisfy their ego to have a son who is qualified like God. In material world, everybody wants some good son. First of all, everybody wants some progeny. That's a material desire. Everybody wants some good husband. Then everybody wants very ideal husband. Everybody wants very beautiful wife. Then everybody wants some children. Then they want very qualified children also. That's a material desire. So naturally, Atri's desire was material because it's a big material desire because he wanted to have a son who is equal to God. He didn't have any clear conception of Ishvara Tattva also. So naturally, he prayed in a little confusing way. So naturally, all the 3 Purusha Gunavadaras appeared in front of him, and all of them gave benedictions. So naturally, he got 3 children as a plenary portion of all the 3 Gunavadaras. Correct? Lord Vishnu's plenary portion appeared as Dattatreya as his son. Then Lord Shiva's plenary portion appeared as Durvasa as his son. Then Brahma's plenary portion appeared as, I think, Buddha, moon god, something like that. So naturally, he had 3 sons. He got 3 sons. Of course, he was a very qualified sadhu. Then Dattatreya, later on, he spoke transcendental Vedic knowledge to Kaihayas. Kaihayas means, I think, what's his name? In Ramayana, his name appears actually. Kartavirya. Kartavirya was a very powerful king, contemporary king of Ravana. Ravana tried to do some mischievous activities to him also, but he defeated Ravana in a very easy way. His capital was Mahismali. He lived on the banks of Narmada in the present state of Madhya Pradesh in Uttara India, in northern India. So he was a very great king. Text 5. Taptam dabo vidaloka susrikshaya me adaus sanat svatapashaka sa sadukusano abhut prakalpasam blava vinashtam ikhatmatatvam samyak jahadamunayo yat asaksadatman. Yes.
Translation: to create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance. And the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in 4 Sanas, Sanat Kumar, Sanandan, and Sanatan. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the 4 Sanas explained it so nicely that the truth at once became clearly perceived by the sages.
Yeah. So this happened in the first day of Lord Brahma. Brahma did secondary creation in his first day, naturally. So that is known as Brahma Kalpa, the first day of Brahma. Then he wanted to create Rajnis more and more. And from his body, 4 Kumaras appeared. But they appeared for different purpose, to disseminate Vedic knowledge in some bona fide sampradaya within this material creation. But Brahma wanted them to beget some children, but they preferred to remain as brahmacharis. Still now they set the example of ideal brahmacharis, Naistika brahmacharis. Intentionally, they keep their bodies also like a young small children, because if you get grown-up body, you will get agitated by sexual desires, especially in young man and young female body. So naturally, purposefully, they keep themselves in small bodies. Of course, they are very strong Naistika brahmacharis also. Of course, then because they appeared for the purpose of propagating Vedic knowledge by Krishna's mercy, they inaugurated their own sampradaya known as Kumara Sampradaya. Correct? We have Kumara Sampradaya also. Brahma had some own sampradaya, and his 2 sons, they started 2 sampradaya. Correct? One sampradaya is started by Lord Shiva, and one sampradaya is started by 4 Kumaras, Rudra Sampradaya, Kumara Sampradaya. Then Gaudiya Sampradaya is the expansion of Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. But Sri Sampradaya is directly started by Lord's eternal consort, Lakshmi herself. So naturally in Sri Sampradaya, then later on, after the disappearance of Ramanuja, the Sampradaya got divided into 2 Sampradayas, Vatakalai and Tenkalai. Basically, the division happened. They have difference of opinion in 10 concepts actually, Vatakalai and Tenkalai. Vedanta Desika is the primary Acharya for Vatakalai. Vatakalai means Uttara portion, northern sect. In Tamil, Vada means north. Tengalai means they give more importance for Tamil language and Tamil Prabandham. Of course, they give importance for Sanskrit also. The primary Acharya for the Tengalai section of Sri Vaishnavam is known as Manavala Mamuni, Jamudriya Muni in the wordings of many Acharyas, even Jiva Goswami also. But now the main point is that they have difference of opinion in many points. Primarily, they have difference of opinion in the method of understanding Lakshmi, the first Acharya of Sri Vaishnavism. The Vadakalai says Lakshmi is the eternal consort of the Lord. She is the energy of the Lord, just like what we say about Radharani. Tengalai say she is not the eternal energy of the Lord. She is the liberated devotee of the Lord. She is the Nitya Siddha of the Lord. She's a jiva, some special kind of jiva, like that. So that is the reason difference of opinion came between Vatakalai and Tankalai, set of Sri Vaishnavism. Dharmasya dasadhitri ajanishta murtya narayano naragiri swatapaka prabhavaka drishtvatmano bhagavado niyamavalobam devyastu ananga praftana gadidumna sekugo.
Hare Krishna. Translation. To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in the twin form as a Narayana and Nar in the form of Maruti, the wife of Adharma and the daughter of a Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companion of Cupid, went to try to break his vow, but they were unsuccessfully, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of a Godhead.
This incarnation is something like the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya appeared and he played the role of a sadhaka devotee to set example for the future devotees. So in the same way here, especially in order to make advancement in spiritual life, we should engage ourselves in tabaha. Practically, tabaha means the senses always demand sensual engagements. It's natural. Mind wants to think about something, sensual objects. Eyes wants to see some beautiful thing. And tongue always wants to taste some tasty things. But the sensual engagement should be limited just for the sake of maintaining the body. And on the other hand, the senses should be placed in the process of Krishna consciousness, in the process of self-realization. That is tapaha. The human form of life is meant for that particular purpose. Naham deho deha bhajam narlohe kashtan kaman arhade bujamye tabodivyam utrakayena sattva. So especially one should do so much tapasya in the matter of male and female association, which is not done in the present day useless society, foolish society. Men and women are allowed to mingle like anything. So naturally, in the traditional Vedic society, only Grahasthas are allowed to mix with their own wives. That's also under certain conditions. So naturally, here in order to set an example for the translist of this material world, the Lord took the form of Naranarayana and he continues performing austerities in Himalayas, in I think in Badrikasrama. We can see the ashrama, the place where he is doing austerities. One can take that son. Then, and as usual, always Indra is afraid of somebody who does great austerities within this material world, because he doubts about the motive of the person who does the penances. Generally, he doubts that many sadhus, they do so much of austerities in order to occupy the position of Indra. So naturally, in order to seduce or in order to divert the attention of Naranarayana, thinking themselves as ordinary tapasvis, he sent the denizens of Sargaloka to divert them. But we know the story. He got defeated because the Lord himself produced so many beautiful women from his transcendental body. The denizens of Sargaloka, who went to entice Naranarayana, become shameful by seeing the beautiful forms created from the body of Naranarayana. Kamam dahadi kadino nanurokha drishtya rosam dahandam udanena dahandi shakyam sohamet andaramalam pravishandu bedi kamaka kadamnu punarashyamanaka srayeda. Krishna.
Okay, I can go. Translation. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind?
So this is a continuation of the sloka number 6. In the sloka number 6, we studied that the Lord remained as a perfect brahmachari or sannyasi. He didn't get affected by the enticement of the beautiful woman of denizens of Sargaloka sent by Lord Indradev to seduce him. So here a comparison is made. Surely, personalities like Lord Shiva, then four Sanak Kumaras are very expert in sense control. They all are very expert brahmacharis and sannyasis, very strict brahmacharis and everything. So surely, Shiva to some extent, he conquered the ill motives of or enticement of Cupid. We have Radhi Devi in Indian temples, in South Indian temples. You can see the beautiful statue of Radhi Devi and his husband, Cupid personified, Manmada. They travel on, they have some suitable vehicles. They travel on beautiful peacocks. In the hand, they have some sugar cane. Then Manmada has some he has some archery also in his hand, bow also. Then he has many arrows also. In that arrows has 5 heads, because always we have 5 senses. The 5 senses always demand some sense gratification like that. So Shiva was able to conquer and enticement of Manmada and Radhi Devi, but at the same time, he did it in a little passionate way. He conquered them, he burned them, but he got so much angry because that the effects were there in his mind. On the other hand, the Lord conquered the enticement of Manmada and Radhi Devi in a very playful way, in a sportive way, without any difficulty. So naturally, here a comparison is made between the self-control capacity of Supreme Lord Vishnu and great Vaishnava Lord Shiva. Later on, we will see in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord himself took the form of Mohini Murti, and he made Lord Shiva to get enticed actually. Lord Shiva got defeated. Sloka 8. Vidattaka sapatni udida patribir andiragyo bolo bisan bagatastabase vanani. Dashma adab durubagadim garnande prashanno divya kastubandi munayo yet ubari adastat.
Hare Krishna, translation. Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest. And the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva plana, which is worshipped by great sages both upward and downward. Hare Krishna.
So we will study the Leela done by the Supreme Lord in relation to Dhruva in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Dhruva started executing austerities under the direction of Narada Muni for the purpose of gaining a bigger kingdom than his grandfather Brahma. So he comes under the category of Chaturvidha Bhajande Mam Jana Sugridino Arjuna Artharthi. So he falls under the category of Artharthi. But later on, he realized his mistake. He became an unalloyed devotee of the Supreme Lord. But anyway, the Lord awarded him pure devotion also. But at the same time, the Lord awarded him a lifespan of 36,000 years to rule the kingdom known as Durvaloka, which cannot be destroyed even during the time of Pralaya. Yatpenu udapata gadam duvijavakya vajra nisplishta paurushabhagam nirage patandam Tra avaradido jagati putra patam chalebe dukta vashuni vishuddha sakalani yena.
Before reading, I had a question in the previous verse. So this chapter talks about incarnations. Why is Dhruv Maharaj discussed in this chapter, Prabhuji?
Because finally it speaks the glories of Lord who appeared in front of Dhruva. What's his name? And the name of the Lord is known as, I think one name is there. What's the name of the Lord? That particular incarnation is known as.
With I, Prabhuji, I think it's with I or E, the name.
I think Sakas, what is his name? Sakasra Purushaha. Sakasra Sirsa. Actually, finally, of course, Dhruva's story was explained. But at the same time, it surely we have glories of the Supreme Lord also. But Durva stories, how it appear there? Durva stories appear in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam for different reason. There, Maitreya and Rudra, they will discuss about the activities of different Prajapatis. So naturally, discussion came about Uttanapada and Uttanapada Maharaj and Priyavrata. So in that discussion, surely Dhruva story came. It came for different reasons actually. But surely we hear the glories about the Supreme Lord also, no doubt. What's the question, Prabhu?
Yes, sir, same, Prabhuji. I mean, why
Yeah.
this? Yes,
Yeah. But the discussion came for different reason in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nabera Savrushabha Asa Sudevi Sunu Yovai Chachara Samadrik Jadayoka Charya Yet Paramaham Shayam Rishayaka Padamamanandi Shuvashtaka Prashanda Karanaha Parimukta Sangaha.
We did not discuss the 9th verse. We missed it. So,
Okay.
so let me just read the translation, Prabhuji, 9th verse.
Read the translation.
Translation.
Sloka.
Yes, Prabhuji, you did the sloka.
Okay, fine.
Maharaja Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Vena was burnt with his good deeds and opulence, and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name Prithu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce.
So Maharaj Vena, he got deviated from the Vedic system of ruling the world. So naturally, his father get frustrated with himself. Prabhupada there writes that sometimes if you get bad wife and bad children, that is beneficial, because soon we will get frustrated with the family life and we will take up the process of devotion very seriously. So Prabhupada says, in one sense, it was a benediction for the father of Veena. Anyway, Veena, he went astray, he deviated so much, then because of him, the whole kingdom got affected. Then finally, the Lord appeared as Prithu. Then he saved Veena also. Then he saved people also. Again, he made proper arrangements for the proper management, which should happen as per the rules and regulations of the Vedic culture. So we'll study about the extensive pastimes of Rusabhadeva again in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Naber Asavrishabha Asa Sudevi Sunu Yovai Chara Samadrik Jata Yoga Charya Yet Paramaham Shem Prasheka Padama Manandi Shuvashtaka Prashanda Karanaka Parimukta Sangaha.
Translation. The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabi, and was known as the Rishabhadev. He performed materialistic yoga as an equal balance the mind. The stage is also accepted as an highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein as one of the situated in one's self and is completely satisfied.
So naturally, we will study about the Leelas of the Lord done as Rishabhadev. So the Lord appeared as Rishabhadev as a son of great devotee, King Nabi and Sudevi. These pastimes are explained and narrated in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's very important because Rishabhadev will set an ideal example in all the ashrams of the life. He will set an ideal example in Brahmacharya ashram, and he will set example for the Grahastha householder and kings. So he will play an ideal role as a king. Then he played an ideal role as a Vanaprastha. Then especially he appeared to set a proper example for the Paramahamsa order of the life. So Rishabhadev, he played ideal roles in all the ashrams, but Vishesha Rubena, especially, he played an ideal role of a Paramahamsa. How a Paramahamsa should behave, what should be his inner conscious, what should his external way of behaving in this material world, everything. So the Paramahamsas can understand. Because the sannyasis has to make promotion. In the sannyas also, there are 4 stages are there. Those who has taken sannyas initiation, they should make more effort to advance in the process of bhakti. So naturally, gradually, they have to go through these 4 different stages. And the sannyasi, if he wants to achieve in his particular ashram, he has to reach the Paramahamsa stage of life in this human form of life. Generally, we think that sannyasi is as soon as we take sannyas, and that is the ultimate stage. But in one sense, that is the first stage. That's the first stage. From that stage, one has to take full effort to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So naturally, sannyasis has to also make for advancement. The advancement finally ends in the stage of Paramahamsa. That's the highest stage. So surely, Vrishabhadev, he set an example for the future Paramahamsas. Satrema mamsa bhagavan haya sirashato shakshat engya purusha tabaniya varnaha shandomayo mahamayo ahila devadatma vacho bahur ushadiki svasto ashanashtaha.
The Lord appeared as the Hayagreva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils.
Very beautiful incarnation. The Lord appeared in the form of golden hearts, and hearts, they make some sound. So he breathed, and the sweet sound of the golden hearts created Vedic sounds. Because even during that particular time, Veda was temporarily stolen from Lord Brahma's hand also. And this Leela is not so much discussed in our Sampradaya and in Sri Sampradaya also. But this particular Leela and this particular form of the Lord is so much worshipped in Madhva Sampradaya. If you go to Udupi, Udupi Krishna temple, main temple, established by Madhva, is surrounded by 8 mutts, correct? And all the sannyasis of the 8 mutts, they take charge of Krishna temple for 4 years. That is one of the Paryaya period. One sannyasi, one mutt will take care of the management of the temple for 4 years. The next mutt, next mutt, like that. So naturally, you will get the chance again after 28 years. So Lord Chaitanya visited Udupi during the time of the management of Puttiha Mutt, because the diary says Lord Chaitanya came here. These are the names of different villages in Kannada language, from where 8 principal sannyasis of Madhva came, the first sannyasis of that particular mutt. So in every mutt has a particular form of the Lord as their Abhimana Devada, worshipable deity. In one mutt, they have the Abhimana Devada is Lord Rama. In some mutt, the Abhimana Devada is Nrsimha. In one mutt, the Abhimana Devada is Hayagriva. And you can study many pastimes about Hayagriva in the Madhva literatures, and you can see many beautiful poems written by many Madhva Acharyas, Madhva Sampradaya Acharyas, in glorification of Hayagriva. He did like that, he did like that, like that. In our Sampradaya, we don't have so much glorification about Hayagriva. Matsho ihanda samaye mauno balabdaha Kishon Yamayo Nihila Jiba Nikaya Ketaka Usram Sidan Urubahye Salila Mukhan Me Adaya Tatra Vijahara Veda Margan.
Hare Krishna, translation. At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vaibhava Manu of the name Satyavrata will see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is a shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas came out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas.
So this is the first incarnation taken by the Supreme Lord. This incarnation appeared in the bank of one river known as Katamala, now known as Vaihai, in South India, here in Tamil Nadu. So the Dakshina Madura, presently known as Madurai of Tamil Nadu, is situated on the bank of this river Katamala and Vaigai. So the Lord took the form of this particular fish incarnation in this particular place in Dravida Desa. It's a very sweet pastime, very beautiful pastime. And we have the temple of, as we discussed, Matshavada, where we have. Previously, there may be some temples here in Tamil Nadu, but throughout whole India, I have never seen any temple of Matshavadar at all. Kurmavadar is there, Kurmasal is there. Matshavadar, we don't have any temple at all. Yeah, time is changing. Surely, some temples might be there in previously, but we don't have any temple. Kishurodadav Amaradanav Yudapana Mattanadam Amradalabaya Adi Devaka Prashtena Kakshapi Aburvedadara Gotram Netrakshanodhradi Parivrata Kishana Ganduhu. Yeah.
Translation. The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
So you will study about Samutra Mandana Leela in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about different Manvandra Avataras. So naturally, you will study about the Manvandra, that particular Leela done by Devadas and Asuras. So throughout whole India, especially in South India, because South Indian temples have big towers actually. So in the South Indian temples, big towers, you can see this particular Leela is explained in a very nice way, like a diorama of the Vedic timings. Of course, if you go to Thailand, naturally, in front of Bangang International Airport, you can see a beautiful big statue of Samutra Mandana Leela.
Cambodia also we have. Cambodia.
Cambodia. In many Southeast Asian countries, we can see this particular Leela is explained so much in the traditional temples. So it's a very famous Leela. And because one specific nature of this particular Leela, unique quality of this Leela is Samutra Mandana Leela is that in that one Leela, the Krishna took incarnations in 4 or 5 forms. Correct? One is this Kurmavadar. We have Kurma temple, as I discussed that in the border of Orissa and the Andhra Pradesh state. It's in Andhra Pradesh, but it's like a border of Orissa. And then the Lord appeared as Mohini Avadar. The Lord appeared as Dhanvantari Avadar. Like that, some 4 or 5 incarnations happened within the purview of Samutra Mandana Leela. We have beautiful temples of Mohini Murti in 2 or 3 places in India. Here in Tamil Nadu, South India, we have one deity of Lord Vishnu. From distance, if you see, it will look like a male form. But if you go near and if you see, it will look like female form. That is Mohini Murti. And if you go to the backside of the deity, you can see beautiful bride and everything. In Andhra Pradesh also, we have one temple of Mohini Murti. So in India, we have 2 or 3 temples of Mohini Murti also. It's a mixed form of male and female, beautiful female form taken by the Supreme Lord. Taraipistobor Bayaha Sanurshimmarubam Kritva Brahmat Burukidam Srushta Karala Bhaktram Daityendra Asu Gatayabi Paranandamarat Ura Nipatya Vidadara Nahek Spurandam. Yes.
Translation. The personality of a godhead assumed the incarnation of Narsingadeva in order to vanquish the great fear of the demigods. He killed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, who changed the Lord with a club in his hand by placing the demon on his thighs and pressing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger and showing his fearful teeth and mouth.
We hear the pastimes of Lord Narasimhadev in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, again in Nrsimha Purana also. But surely the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam begins with some other discussion it begins with the discussion that a doubt was asked by Parisit Sukadeva Goswami. Sometimes it appears that the Lord is not so neutral. He appears to be partial. Then Sukadeva wanted to explain the philosophical truth. Though he appears to be partial, but actually speaking, he is always neutral only. So in that connection, they spoke about the qualities of the Lord in protecting his devotees, and especially Prahlad. Then Sukadeva started speaking about the pastimes of the Lord done by the Lord in the form of Narsimhadev. So as per the version of Sri Vaishnavas, and this particular place is Ahobilam in Andhra Pradesh state. One has to go there. It's a beautiful hilly region, and it will take 2-3 days to visit all the temples because we have 9 different forms of Narsimha Bhagavan there. And finally, on the top of the hill, one can see the pillar from where Narsimha came. Madajis cannot go there. If some Prabhus are really strong, they can climb on the skill there. Madajis can see them from distance. And one can see the Gurukul of Sanda and Amarka also there. So one should make a point to visit there. It's a beautiful place, hilly place from where Narsimha appeared. Ahobalam, what a great bala, strength he had. Of course, as per the version of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narsimha Bhagavan appears in Swargaloka because Hiranyaksha had captured the position of Indradeva also. He was sitting in the royal seat of Indradev. That time, the Lord came and killed him. But many places are there. In India, especially, you can see many holy places, which all are existing simultaneously in different parts of other universes also, and here within the realm of great Bharata Desha also. You can see many places like that. So naturally, Sri Vaishnava's lesson is also not wrong. Andaka sarasi urbalena pade grahido grahena yuddha patirambuja hasta artaha ahedamadi purushahila lokanada tirtha sravaka sravana mangala namadeya.
The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted.
So that we study in the 8th kind of Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes done by the Lord came to save Gajendra. Gajendra was previously king known as Indrayumna. Again, Indrayumna was the king of Dravida Desha, South India. Later on, he, by the curse of Agastya, he became Gajendra. So it's a beautiful pastime done by the Lord. In Sri Vaishnavism, they glorify this particular pastime so much. In South India, we have 2 temples related to this particular pastime. In Kanchipuram city itself, we have 1 place related to this particular pastime. Then again, in deep portion of Tamil Nadu, we have another holy place related to this particular pastime. If you study Chaitanya Charitamrita, one can understand. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited both of these holy places in South India. He visited the place of Gajendra Moksha in Srirangam also. Then again, with the deep part of South India also, he came to these holy places. Sloka 16. Srutva haristam aranarthinam abrameyas chakra yudaka padagaraja bujadi rutaha shakrena nakravadanam nipatya dasmat dashke brahriya bhagavan kribayo jahara. Yes.
Translation: The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel, Chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk.
It's a continuation of the previous sloka, sloka 17. Jyayan koner avarajobi adidega sudana lokan chakrama imanat adadai enjaha kshama amanena jagre tripata chalena yachina mrade padicharan prabhubhitna chalyaha.
Translation: The Lord, although transcendental to all material modes, still surpassed all the qualities of the sons of Aditi. known as Adityas. The Lord appeared as the youngest son of Aditi, and because he surpassed all the planets of the universe, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the pretense of asking for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land, he took away all the lands of Bali Maharaj. He asked simply because, without begging, no authority can take one's rightful possession.
Correct. So the Lord took the form of a beautiful Vamana avatar, and he interacted with his devotee Bali Maharaj in a joking mood, with a little bit cheating, but with the transcendental cheating is done by the Lord, but in a very joking mode. Very beautiful form. Then later on, the next sloka, we study more details. He took a huge form and he cheated Bali Maharaj. And then that particular form is known as Trivikra Brahma, especially here in South India. In North India, I have not seen so many temples of Trivikra Brahma. In South India, especially in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, this Leela is very famous. And in Kanchipuram, we have one beautiful temple of Trivikra Brahma, the Lord taking a huge form.
Prabhuji, is there a reason why most of the temples are in South India and not
Almost 90% of the temples. Since I took birth here, I have a first-hand experience of seeing all these holy places. Then in another place within Tamil Nadu, we have another form of Trivikra Brahman. Here in Kanchipuram, he lifts the right leg, and in that particular place, he raises his left leg very beautifully. Then in Kerala, near the Kochi airport, again backside of the airport, if you travel for some 4-5 kilometers, you can see one beautiful form of Vamanadeva also. And that's also Divire, some holy place. So as per the tradition of Kerala, they say that Vamanadeva appeared there. Yeah, they say that Bali was the king of Kerala, like that. They say that is the reason. In that connection, they perform the famous function known as Onam, actually, the most famous festival of the state of Kerala. So it's a very beautiful pastime done by the Supreme Lord as Trivikra Brahman, Trivikra Bhagavad. Then 18 I read, Prabhu, 18 I have not read, correct?
Not yet, Prabhuji, not yet.
Yeah. Nartho Balerayam Gurukramapada Saucham Apakasika Drittabada Ubadayi Patyam Yovai Pratisratam Katena Chikirshat Anyat Atmanavangamanasha Haraye Abhimene.
Translation. Bali Maharaj, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything beside his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the king of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value.
So Bali Maharaj disobeyed the orders of his spiritual master. He disobeyed the orders of his spiritual master for the sake of rendering devotional service to the Supreme Lord. If the spiritual master instructs his disciple not in line with the principles of devotional service, he can be rejected. So he rejected, but finally he got saved by the Supreme Lord. Sloka number 19. Dubyam cha narada vrisham bhagavan uvritta bhavena sadhu paridushta uvacha yogam jnanam cha bhagavadam Atma Sadatpadibam Yet Vasudeva Sarana Buddha Ajasaiva.
O Narada, you were taught about the science of God and his transcendental loving service by the personality of Godhead in his incarnation of Hamsavatar. He was very much pleased with you due to your intense proportion of devotional service. He also explained unto you lucidly the full science of devotional service, which is especially understandable by persons who are souls surrendered unto Lord Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So Hamsavatar, just like a Hamsa, it separates milk from water content. So in the same way, the Supreme Lord explained about the principles of pure devotional service, separating from the portions of Karma Handa, Jnana Handa, etc. of the Vedas. So later on, we can see Narada Muni based on that. He composed one important book known as Narada Bhakti Sutra. That book was compiled by Narada in a place known as Narada Kund. which is not so far away from Kusmusarovar in the area of Govardhan Hill. When you do Govardhan Parikram, you will come to Kusmusarovar after Radhakund. Then after Kusmusarovar, if you walk for 1 kilometer, you can visit Naradakund, where Narada Muni compiled Narada Bhakti Sutra. Very important place for our devotees to visit. It's just on the Parikrama of Govardhan Parikram. You have to go and say, but Parikrama. Text number 20. Chakram Chadiksu Abhihadam Dasa Susvadejo Manbandaresu Manapam Sadaro Bharti Dustesu Rajasu Daman Yadadat Swakirti Satye Triprashta Usadim Padagyam Charitraihi. Yeah. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
As
Krishna.
the incarnation of Manu, the Lord became the descendant of the Manu dynasty and ruled over the miscreant kingly order, subduing them by his powerful wheeled weapons. Undeterred in all circumstances, his rule was characterized by his glorious fame, which spread over the 3 lokas and above them to the planetary system Satya-loka, the topmost in the universe.
So Manu itself is the incarnation. So in one day of Brahma, 14 Manus appear and go. So naturally, in one lifetime of Brahma, 5,040 Manus appears and go. So naturally, 5,040 names of different incarnations are there. Just here, one small list is given here. Not the complete list is not given at all. In human memory, we cannot keep it at all. So Krishna comes and goes as different incarnations, like the waves of ocean. That is said actually. So 5,040 Manus in Manvandara Avadaras are there. Danvandraicha Bhagavan Swayam Eva Kirtir Navna Narnam Urujam Ruja Asuhandi Yengyecha Bhagam Amradayayur Avarunda Ayushya Vedam Anusasadi Avidirya Loge.
The Lord, translation. The Lord in his incarnation as of Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of the evil deceased, ever deceased living entities, simply by his fame personified, and only because of him do the demigods achieve long lives. Thus the personality of Godhead becomes ever glorified. He also exacted a share from the sacrifices, and it is he only who inaugurated the medical science or the knowledge of medicine in the universe.
The Lord appeared as Dhanvantari Avatar in connection with Samutra Mandana Leela. He appeared as the brother of sun god, moon god. He appeared from the ocean only. And he propounded the knowledge of Vedic medical science. He brought a jug of nectar also. So we have the temple of Dhanvantari Vaibhava within the huge Ranganath temple, the biggest temple of the world nowadays. Of course, Angkor is also biggest temple of the whole world. So near the Sannadi temple of within Ranganath temple, we have huge temple of Lord Ranganath and Lord Ranganahi also. So near the Ranganahi temple, Ranganahi Taya temple, Lakshmi temple, Ranganahi Lakshmi is known as Ranganahi there. So one can see the beautiful deity of Dhanvantari there. One point I want to say is that in India, whole India, you cannot see one form of the Lord known as Pandavaduta, the messenger of Pandavas. So the Lord took broad form, correct? The broad form that we discussed in the second kind of Srimad Bhagavatam, also in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So the Lord showed his form through the material ingredients for the neophyte trance list 2-3 times. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, then he showed some special broad form, universal form to Arjuna. He showed one broad form to the Kauravas because they tried to insult him when the Lord went to Hastinapur for making peacemaking mission for Pandavas. Correct? So that beautiful big form of the Lord one can see in one temple in Sri Rangam. Throughout the whole universe, you have only one temple. You have to see like this actually. That is supposed to be the highest deity of Lord Vishnu in India. Very huge form he took. He was sitting on a chair, seat given by Duryodhana and everybody. Yeah, they wanted to cheat him, they wanted to bind him, but Lord took a beautiful big form. You have to see the form like anything. That is a place of Yadava Prahasa, the Mayavadi guru of Ramanuja also, that in that village. So huge temple, only one temple in the whole world. Vishatram Kishayaya Vidinova Vritta Mahatma Brahmadurk Ujhita Padam Narahati Lupsu Udandi Asa Avani Kandakam Yugraviriyas Hi Sabdakritpa Urudara Parasvadena.
Translation. When the ruling administrators, who are known as an Kshatriya, turned astray from the path of the absolute truth, being desirous to suffer in hell, the Lord in his incarnation as the sage Parashurama uprooted those unwanted kings who appeared as the throne of the earth. Thus he thrice 7 times uprooted the Kshatriya with his keenly sharp chopper.
So Parasuram, son of Jamadagni Rishi, became so much angry on the demonic Sadriya kings. He killed them. So one has to go to the birthplace of Madhvacharya, known as Pajaka in Dakshina Karnataka, some 20-25 kilometers from Udupi. So in that particular village, in the outskirts of the village, in a hill, one can see the beautiful temple of Parasuram. So Parasuram practically, he retrieved the land of Kerala from the sea. Otherwise, there was no Kerala state at all. So naturally, he was the founder Acharya of the state of Kerala, which is known as God's kingdom, Parasuram's kingdom, traditionally. It's a very beautiful state, the most beautiful state of India. So that is the beginning of Kerala state also, Dakshina Karnataka. So there you can see the beautiful temple of Lord Parasuram. Aspat Prasada Sumukha Kalaya Kalesha Yakshvag Vamsa Abadirya Gurur Nideshe Dishtan Vanamsa Daityeno Anja Avivesha Yasmin Grudya Dasakandara Artimarchat.
Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary expansions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the lord of his internal potency Sita. Under the order of his father Maharaj Dasharath, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravan, who was very materially powerful with 10 heads on his shoulder, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished.
Thanks. So I will speak after 2-3 verses. Yasma Adat Udadir Udabayanga Vepo Margam Sapati Aripuram Sarabat Dakshoho Dure Sugr Madida Rosa Susona Drishtya Tadapyamana Maharoroga Nakra Chakraha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The personality of Godhead, Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant intimate friend, Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravana with red hot eyes like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because of its family member. The aquatics, like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burned by the heat of the angry red hot eyes of the Lord.
Thanks. Bakshakasthalasparsarunga Makendravaha Dandair Dambira Tatjusha Udahasam Sadyo Subikasaka Vinesakadidara Hartu Vispur Jidai Danusha Ucharado Dishaimye.
Translation. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven Indra broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramchandra, the personality of Godhead. Correct.
Yeah. So Lord Ramchandra's pastimes are narrated by Valmiki. Kujita Kohilam in Sanskrit they say. Kohilam, he is a cuckoo, transcendental cuckoo, which sings the glories of Lord Rama, sitting on the branch of Vedas. Vrikshashahat. Yesterday only I studied that sloka in my Sanskrit class. It's a beautiful So 24,000 slokas are there. One can study and release the pastimes done by Lord Ramachandra. The places of pastimes are spread throughout whole India, starting from Ayodhya. Lord Ram again appears after a gap of some 200-300 years. So, but in Ayodhya, he is in the form of a Balarama. Balaram, I think in January, the temple is going to get open. Then in Chitrakoot, we have some temples, many past places of pastimes related with Lord Rama. Then whole India, Nasik, in different places of Andhra Pradesh, here in Tamil Nadu, we can see different holy places related with the pastimes of Lord Rama. And in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu is the place of Lord Rama. You can see big, beautiful temples of Lord Rama. Andhra Pradesh also, especially in the his kingly form with bow and arrow, very beautiful, huge form. And surely we have Rameswaram here. From Rameswaram, the Lord went to Sri Lanka. I had been preaching in Sri Lanka for many years. So naturally in Sri Lanka also, we have many places of pastimes, not so much related with Lord Rama, but related with Mother Sita. I went to the place where Mother Sita was kept in prison, Sita Eli, in near Gandhi region of Sri Lanka. So we have many places related to the Ravana. We can see the palace of Ravana. We can see the different places connected with Ravana also. So naturally, throughout the whole world, Prabhupada said that Ravana lived in Mexico. So Lord Rama was related with all the places. But one place in South India is very important. Generally we think that the Lord gave mercy to Milechas, British, only through the surely it happened. But previously also, time to time, the Lord gave mercy to Milechas, Yavanas, and made them as devotees. So in South India, in one place known as Madurandaka, some 100 kilometers from, 80 kilometers from Chennai, in southern direction, we have a beautiful temple of Lord Rama. So the temple is situated on the bank of a huge lake. And that is a place where Ramanuja got initiated, actually, by his guru. Then what happens here? During the time of British, when British collector was ruling this particular portion of Tamil Nadu, it was a rainy season, like now, huge rains were there. So it was a huge lake. You cannot see that lake it's about to break actually, because so much water was there. So naturally, it was a very good collector, the British collector. So he came to the bank of that particular lake along with his some servants, and he started walking on the banks of the lake, huge lake. Then he went to the end side of the lake. Then he suddenly collapsed. He fell down. He became unconscious. Then he was kept in the hospital for 7 days. And then he gradually regained conscious. Then finally everybody asked him, why you become unconscious and everything. He said that I saw two beautiful young boys with bow and arrow protecting that particular lake. Okay. But he was not a Hindu. He didn't know the name is Lord Rama and Lord Lakshmana. Then later on, because traditionally Brahmanas were, the British people were not allowed to enter inside our traditional Hindu temples. Then later on in that particular village, because it was so much raining, everybody was converged in that particular temple, Lord Rama's temple. He came to the Lord Rama's temple for some investigation and everything. Then the Brahmanas asked whether you saw these two people. He said, yes, I saw these two people, Lord Rama and Lakshmana. It means Lord Rama and Lakshmana had given darshan to the British collector. So that pastime happened before some 200-300 years back. Then later on, he became a devotee of Lord Rama. He donated so much money for reconstruction of that particular temple, Lord Rama also. So naturally, like Lord Chaitanya makes Milechas as devotees, Lord Rama also has his own pastimes. And you see, all the Hindus were there, Brahmanas were there, it was the rainy time. Nobody knows Lord Rama personally came there and protected that particular village by protecting that big lake. But he had taken the darshan of the Lord. So fortunate. So one can see that particular place, Madhurandaham. So Madhura Antaham. One can experience the highest bliss there by going there. That's the reason. That's a place of initiation of Ramanuja also. Fine. Bhumega Suredara Varut Umardidayaka Klesha Vyaya Kalaya Siddhakrishna Keshaka Jadaka Karshendi Jananu Balakshya Margaka Karmani Chatma Mahibo Mani Bandhanani.
Translation: when the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of the kings who have no faith in the God, the Lord just limits the distress of the world. Descendant with his planetary proportion, the the Lord comes in his original form, the beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can probably estimate how great he is. Thank
So
you.
from sloka number 26, this particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Surely, the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered as the head of Srimad Bhagavatam, speaks about the Asraya Tattva of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam has 10 subject matters. So the Asraya Tattva is Krishna. So naturally, the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is specifically devoted for discussing the sweetest pastimes of, elaborate pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. So naturally here, the pastimes are explained in nutshell from sloka number 26, 27. Tohena jivaharanam yat ullukikayas tari masihasya pata sakato pavartaha yat ringadandaragadena divisparshorva unmoolanam tu idartarjunayo nabhavyam.
There is no doubt about Lord Krishna as being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother? To overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old? Or to uproot a pair of Arjuna trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord himself.
Yeah. Sloka number 28. Yat vai vraje vrajapushun vishadho yapida palamstu ajivayat anugraha drishti vrishya tat Suddaye Vissavirya Lola Jivam Uchadaya Ishyat Uragam Vigaran Kridinya.
Translation: Then also when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord in his childhood revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kali snake which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such a Herculean task but the Supreme Lord?
Yeah. Kalya Mardana Leela. One can see the place in the Parikrama Mark of Vrindavan. Tat Karma Divyam Ivayan Nikshayanam Davangrina Susivane Paridahyamane Unneshya Vrajam Ado Vashishtantakalam Netre Vidaya Sabalo Nadigamya Viryaha.
Translation: on the very night of the day of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake, when the inhabitants of Rajabhumi were sleeping carefree, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balaram, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord. Correct.
This particular place, I think, is in Gujarat in some place. Grinidayat Ubabandam Amushyamada Sulabam Sudashya Nadudattat Amushyamadi Jimbarado Shya Vadane Bhuvanani Gobi Sambiksha Shangita Mana Pradibodhishtadshit. Yeah.
Translation: when the cowherd women, Krishna's foster mother Yashoda, were trying to tie the hands of her son with ropes, she found the rope to be always insufficient in length. And when she finally gave up, the Lord Krishna by and by opened his mouth, wherein the mother found all the universe situated. Seeing this, she was doubtful in her mind, but she was convinced in a different manner of a majestic nature of her son.
So Damodar Lila is done by the Lord in Gohul. One can visit this particular place, a small temple in Prana Gohul. One can see this place still now. Text number 30. One can see that wooden mortar also, that stone mortar also. Nandam namokshayati bayat varnashya pashat goban bales bihidan mayasununa cha agni apruttam nisisayanam adisramena logam bihundam ubaneshyati gokulam sma.
Lord Krishna saved his foster father Nanda Maharaj from the fear of the demigod Varuna and released the cowherd boys from the caves of the mountain, for they were placed there by the son of Maya. Also, to the inhabitants of Vrindavan who were busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day, Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. All these acts are transcendental and certainly prove without any doubt his godhood.
Yeah. So I think this place is also in Gujarat only. Many pastimes of Supreme Lord's pastimes, not only it's there in Vrajabhumi, they are spread in many states of India, especially in Gujarat also. Gopairmakhe pratide Vrajabhuplavaya Deve Vivarshadi Pashun Kirbayar Rakshuku Andarto Chilindram Iva Sabda Dinani Sabda Parsho Mahidram Anagaiha Kare Salilam. Krishna, Govardhan Lila.
When the cowherd man of Vrindavana, under instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Braja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Braja, held up the hill known as Govardhana with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You read what translation of which verse, Mataji?
32.
31?
32.
Oh, sorry, it's my mistake. Okay, there, now 33. Greedan vane nisakar rasmi gaurya rashon mukhakala padayatra murchidena uttipta sumararujam rajabrit paduna hartu garishyari shiro danadanu gashya.
Translation. When the Lord was engaged in his pastimes of the Rasa dance in the forest of Vrindavan, enlivening the sexual desires of the wives of the inhabitants of Vrindavan by sweet and melodious songs, a demon of the name Shankachud, a rich follower of the treasure of heaven, Kuber, kidnapped the damsels, and the Lord severed his head from his trunk.
Sankachuda, killing Sankachuda. I don't know the place where. Then, Ye Chapralamba Kardan, Dadurakeshi Arishta, Maleba, Kamsha Yavana, Yavanah Kapi, founder of Dyayuku, Anye Chasal, the Gujabalbala Dandabakra, Saptoksha Shambara, Udura Tarupni Mukhyaha, Yevamrde Samidi. Salina at the Chapaha, Kamboja, Matshagur, Saranjaya Kaihad Yaha, Yashan, the Adarshanam Anabalapata Bhima, Yaja, Havayana Harina, Nilayam the Diyam.
Hare Krishna. Translation. All demonic personality like Pralamba, Dhenuka, Baka, Kesi, Arishta, Kanura, Mustika, Kavalyapida, elephant, Kamsa, Yavanaha, Narakasuraha, and Pandruka, great marshal like Sleva, Divividha, monkey, and Balwalaha, Dhantavakra, and the 7 bulls, Sambraha, Viduratha, and the Rukmi, as also great warriors like Kambhuja, Mastya, Kuru, Sarjanya, and Kekaya would all fight vigorously either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under his name of Baladeva, Arjuna, Bhima, etc. And the demons thus being killed would attend either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets.
So the Lord promoted even his enemies also to the kingdom of Vaikuntha or sometimes to Brahmajyoti by personally killing them or sometimes caused them to be killed by his pure devotees like Bhima and Arjuna. Basically, Bhima did the job so much. I think he killed something like 78 or 82 or 65 sons of Gandhari, correct? So naturally, Bhima is Bhima. Of course, Arjuna also. He played an important role in the killing mission of the Supreme Lord. So we will give a gap of 5 minutes, then we will continue. We will complete this chapter. Just 5 minutes. Number, I think 36. Kalena milidadiyam avamrishanirnam so ka isham svanigamo badadura paraha avirdastu aniham sahi satyavatyam veda durumam vidapasho ubajishedi shuma.
The Lord himself in his incarnation as the son of Satyavati, Vyasdev, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to be very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short life, and thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to the circumstances of the particular age.
Yeah, he in this particular Vyasa is known as Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, because the Lord himself took the incarnation of Vyasa and he did the service of dividing the Vedas. The place we know that it is in Badriyashram, the Vyasa Kuha. One can go there and take darshan of Lord Vyasadev. Devadvisham Nihavartmani Nishtidana Puribir Mayena Vihidavir Adrishya Durbihi Lokan Gnada Madi Umokam Adi Pralobam Vesham Vihaya Bahubasheda Aubadanyam. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
I'll read from Mataji. Translation. When the atheist, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles.
So this Buddha incarnation is incarnation like Mohini Avatar. Previously, he took the incarnation of Buddha and he preached non-violence principle. He preached Vedic culture. So the Buddha incarnation is bona fide. His teachings are not bona fide. This is different Buddha incarnation. This Buddha incarnation will cheat the demands and he will start preaching about the sub-religious principle as per the need of time, place, and situation. And gradually, he will bring them under the purview of Vedic culture. He will look so beautiful also. So by his beauty also, he will attract the minds of artistic classes of people. Yarihi alayesu abhisadamna hareka kataha siyo pashandino dvijajana prashala nirdevaha swaha swadda vashatti dismagirona yatra shashta bhavishyati kaler bhavani kande.
Translation. Thereafter, at the end of a Kali Yuga, when there exists no topic on the subject of a god, even at the residence of the so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the 3 higher castes, and when the power of the government is transferred to the hand of the ministers elected from the low-born Shudra class and those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of the sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser.
Chastiser. So naturally, in the Yuga Sandhya of Kali Yuga and the next Sadhya Yuga, the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser as Kalki Avatar, and he will again establish the parambara of the traditional kings. So we have Surya Vamsa and Chandra Vamsa. So he will establish again Surya Vamsa and Chandra Vamsa. Sarge taboham prashayo navaye prajeshaha Stane the Dharma Mahaman Amaran, sorry, Amaran Manishaha, Andedu Adar Mahara, Manyu Asha Suradya, Maya Ubudaya Ima Purusakti Bajaha. Yeah.
At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself, Brahma, and the Prajapatis, the great sages who generate. Then, during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion, and then Lord Shiva, and the earth is full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord.
Yeah, so naturally, now he speaks about some lesser important incarnations. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are known as three Gunabadaras. Even Prajapatis were empowered by the Lord in the matter of sub-creation. So they can be also, as per the time-place situation, categorized as the different kinds of incarnations. Different Sloka 40. Vishnu Ornavi Gananam Kadamo Artha Diha Ya Parthivani Abhigavir Umame Rajamsi Shaksha, sorry, Saskambaya Suva Ragasa Halada Triprashtam Yasma Trisamya Sadanat Urukambayanam.
Translation: who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientists who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who, in his form of Trivikrama, moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet, Satyalogana, to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved.
So Brahma repeats his version of self-realization again and again. We all have discussed about the glories of the Lord in his different incarnations, but surely nobody can count the glories of the Supreme Lord to the fullest extent. One may have been really qualified to count the sand particles of this material world, atoms of this particular universe. Then also, that particular person is not qualified to count the glories of the Supreme Lord. I think in Acharya's commentaries, they say that Brahma and Shiva, they have the power to count the atomic particles of this particular universe. But even such a great personalities cannot count the glories of the Supreme Lord to the fullest extent. Nandam vidami ahamami munayo agrajaste maya balasya purushashya kudo varaye Gayan Gunanda Sasanadana Adidevaka Shisho Dunapi Samavashadina Shaparam.
Translation: neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Shesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 10,100 faces. Correction.
Even Lord's own incarnation, Shesha, he goes on glorifying the Lord using his thousands of mouths, but he is not able to count 10,000, 10,100 mouths, 1,000 months. Then even he is not able to come to any end, because always the glories are expanding more and more, more and more, more and more. Ye samsas esha Bhagavan dayayet anandaha sarvatmana sritapato yadi nirvyaliham de dustaram adidarandicha devamaya naisham amaham idihi swasrgala bhakshe.
Translation: but anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of a Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender onto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to his body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, can't do so. Hare Krishna.
So naturally, those devotees who have received the mercy of the Lord can understand about the glories of the Lord to some extent. Surely, people who are attached to their bodies and the happiness of the body cannot understand Lord's glories at all. Vedahamanga Paramashahi Yogamaya Yuyam Babacha Bhagavan Aradaitya Varyaha Patni Manohasha but Bhakti Manogasha Manuschatat Atmajascha Prachni Barkirubur Anga Durvascha Ikswahu Aila Musukunda Videka Godi, Rahu Ambaris Sagara, Gayanakusha Yaha, Manadar Alarkasanada Anurandi Deva Vardobali, Amur Tarayod Libaha, Sobri Udanga Sivideva Palada, Saraswadodava Parasara Burishe Naha, Yen Ye Vishna Homa, Ubendra Darata, Partha Sardena Surdadeva Varyaha.
O Narad, although the potential is unknowable and immeasurable, still, because we are all surrendered souls, we know how he acts through Yogamaya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to the all-powerful Shiva, the great king of the Athis family, namely Prahlad Maharaj, Swayambhuva Manu, his wife Shatarupa, his sons and daughters like Priyavrat, Uttanapad, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti, Prachini Barhi Ribhu, Anga, the father of Vena, Maharaj Dhruva, Ikshvaku, Aila, Muchukunda, Maharaj Janak, Gadhi, Raghu, Ambarish, Sagar, Gaya, Nahusa, Mandhata, Alarka, Shatadhanve, Anu, Rantidev, Bhishma, Bali, Amurtaraya, Dilipa, Saubhari, Uttanka, Shibi, Devala, Pippalada, Saraswat, Uddhav, Parashar, Burishena, Vibhishan, Hanuman, Shukdev Goswami, Arjun, Arishtena, Arshtishena, Vidura, Shrutadeva, etc.
Last time, Prabhu, because we all are surrendered souls. No input? Okay. Okay. So it does not mean that one cannot understand about Lord's glories at all. One cannot understand about his glories to the fullest extent. That's the point. And by the mercy of the Lord, great surrendered devotees like different names mentioned here, they know the glories of the Lord to some extent. And then what to speak of ourselves? Even such a great devotees, they know about the glories of the Lord to some extent. Te Vaibhava Adidaranti cha Devamaya Sri Sudrahuna Sabara Abhipapa Jivaha Yeti Adbhuta Kramaparayana Sila Siksas Tadyak Jana Abhikim Suddhadarana Ye Krishna.
Translation: Surrendered souls, even from groups Hare Krishna. Surrendered souls, even from groups leading sinful lives, such as women, the liberal class, the mountaineers, and the Siberians, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the signs of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of the illusory energy by surrendering unto the pure devotees of the Lord and by following in their footsteps in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
So this verse speaks about the glories of the process of devotional service. Lord's glories are so great, even it is endless. Even the great devotees like Priyavrata, Hanuman have understood about his glories to some extent, but at the same time, it does not mean that it's inaccessible at all. Even somebody may come from very sinful background also, but if they take up the process of pure devotional service and surrender to the Lord, they can surely understand about the glories of the Lord to some extent. So we can understand the glories of the Supreme Lord, but nobody should become proud and think that I can understand about him fully. That nobody can do that. And his glories are also always expanding more and more. Saswat Prashant, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, quick question. In the previous verse, when we, describe, there are so many people described. What is the difference between them and the Mahajanas?
In that group, some are Mahajanas. Not everybody is Mahajana. Some are given the post of Mahajan. Basically, spiritually speaking, all are in the categories of Mahajan. But at the same time, they are like Mahajan, surely. But at the same time, we have a list of Mahajan also. That how we say what are the names of different Mahajan? That names are said as per the verse spoken by Yamaraj, correct? In the sex kind of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, that particular verse gives only 12 names. But practically speaking, all these devotees are in the category of Mahajan only.
Okay, thank you.
And that particular verse appears in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Te Vaibhava Adidaranti cha Devamaya Sri Sudra Huna Sabar Abhipapa Jivaha Yedi Adbuda Krama Parayana Sila Sakshas Tiryak Jana Abhikim Surda Dharana Ye. Oh, this I read, correct?
Very 47.
Okay, fine, thanks. Sasat Prashandam Abhaya Pradipo Damatram Suddam Samasataka Paramatma Tatpam Sabdona Yatra Purkarakavan Kriyarto Maya Paraidi Abhimuheja Lajamana. Very important verse, this verse. Tatpai Padam Bhakabadaka Paramasya Pumso Brahmedi Yet Badur Ajasra Sudam Ishokam.
Translation. What is
Yeah.
realized as the absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without grief. That is certainly the ultimate face of the supreme enjoyer, the personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and is fearless. He is complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities, and in whom the illusory energy does not stand. Hare Krishna.
You can read the purport also, bro. It's a very important verse.
Purport. The supreme enjoyer, the personality of Godhead, is the supreme Brahman or the Samam Bonam because of his being the supreme cause of all causes. The conception of impersonal Brahman realization is the first step due to his distinction from the illusory conception of material existence. In other words, impersonal Brahman is a feature of the absolute distinct from the material variegatedness, just as light is a conception distinct from its counterpart darkness. But the light has its variegatedness, which is seen by those who further advance in the light, and thus the ultimate relation of Brahman is the source of Brahman light, the supreme personality of Godhead, the summum bonum, or the ultimate source of everything. Therefore, meeting the personality of Godhead includes the relation of the impersonal Brahman as realized at first in contrast with material illusion. The personality of Godhead is the third step of Brahman relation. As explained in the first canto, one must understand all three features of Absolute, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Pratibodh Matram is just the opposite conception of material existence. In matter, there are material miseries, and thus in the first relation of Brahman, there is the negation of such material miseries, and there is a feeling of eternal existence distinct from the pangs of birth and death, disease and old age. That is the primary conception of impersonal Brahman. The Supreme Lord is the supreme soul of everything, and therefore in the supreme conception, affection is realized. The conception of affection is due to the relationship of soul to soul. A father is affectionate to his son because there is some relationship of nearness between the son and the father. But that sort of affection in the material world is full of limitations. When the personality of Godhead is met, the fullness of affection becomes manifested because of the reality of the affectionate relationship. He is not the object of affection by material tinges of body and mind, but he is the full, naked, uncontaminated object of affection for all living entities because he is the super soul of Paramatma within everyone's heart. He is in the liberated state of affairs. The full-fledged affection for the Lord is awakened.
Yeah, bro. Thanks, bro. So it's a very, very important verse. This verse speaks, or you can say, it is a summary verse. It speaks, but at the same time, it speaks about the many glories of the Lord. Of course, nobody can count all the glories of the Lord, but many important glories of the Lord are given, enlisted here. So he is eternal, Saswat, Prashandam. He is free from material miseries and material hangerings. We can say vichar in Hindi also we say vichar karna. So we all are always in anxieties. So naturally he is free from grief. He is the only person who is free from grief. We all are having some problem, correct, within this material world. Sada samadugna. Always we have some kind of anxieties, some kind of vignas, problems are there. Now just I have to travel again to one temple to 1.5 or 2 hours. I'm giving class, but I am in my mind I have anxiety whether we get bus or not, whether we get a train or not, like that. Sada samudvigna. Always we have some anxieties, problems. Then Abhayam, only he can give supreme shelter for everybody. Pradibodha Matra. Yeah. So in his personality and in his spiritual world, one can see and experience things, objects, and situations which are having opposite qualities of the matter. Very eternal spiritual natures are there. Then this particular word, Maya Paraidi Abhimihe Javalajamana, this particular line is quoted by Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha. So this particular verse is naturally so important. It says that Maya does the work of enticing the jivas, but at the same time, Maya is always afraid of the Supreme Lord. It feels same in performing that particular task, but it has to do that on behalf of the Supreme Lord, and it cannot stand in front of the Lord also. So Valajyamana, it feels safe why I am doing like this, but at the same time, it does that. Then Prabhupada speaks about the qualities of pure devotion. If you come to the platform of Visuddha Sattva, so naturally, we all can also experience the qualities of the Supreme Lord like that. And we also will experience some unlimited qualities like that. Sadriyanyam yadayo yamakartahedim jakyugo swarat ivanipanakandhiram indraka. Yeah, only translation.
In such a in such a transcendental state, there is no need for artificial control of the mind, mental speculation, or meditation, as performed by the Jnanis and Yogis. One give up such process as the heavenly king Indra forgoes the trouble to dig a well.
Yeah. So naturally, in the previous verse, we spoke about the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Then later on in the purports, Prabhupada speaks about that if one comes to the platform of pure devotional service, he can experience the sweetness and greatness of the glories of the Supreme Lord. And one can, the devotional qualities. So naturally, this verse is a continuation of the particular last portion of the previous sloka. In the transcendental state, for a devotee, for a pure devotee, there is no need to practice the process of jnana marka or yoga marka in order to perform, in order to achieve mental control, whatever it may be. So the example is given. Indra, there is no need for Indra. Whenever, traditionally, previously, whenever we want to do agriculture, first we have to dig the well. It's a big process. We have to bring that local village person who knows the mantra. In India, in villages, we have the people. They will bring some coconut in the hand. It works nicely, actually. So they will roam in our land. And then suddenly when they go to some place where water resource is there, the coconut will start rotating. Then they will say, here, if you may dig a well or make a bore, you will get water. It works out. Really, you will get water. They will do some puja and mantras. So naturally, they can understand where water source is there. Then one has to dig well. But sometimes it happens that when you start digging well, water will not come. What will come? Ghost will come if he is unfortunate. Very dangerous, actually. So naturally, such a big trouble is there in digging well and bringing water from the well. Of course, nowadays it's a time of scientific inventions. So naturally, very big trouble is there. So Indra, there is no need for Indra to go through these troubles of getting water because he is the chief demigod in control of all the clouds, big clouds, different varieties of clouds are there. They are all that. Then we have some private demigods in charge of all the clouds. But Indra is the ultimate leader of all the clouds. So for him, there is no need of taking the trouble of digging a well. In the same way, there is no need for the pure devotee to take up the difficult process of yoga marka, jnana marka to achieve perfection. If you go on enjoying, hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord and releasing the glories of the Supreme Lord, that particular process will give all kinds of benedictions and perfections. That's understanding. Sreyasam avi ubar bhagavan yadoshe bhava subhava vikidasya sadaka prasiddhihi dehe swadada vikame anu visrigyavane vyomeva tatra purushona visaryade jaha
The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, he is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body.
Yeah. The Supreme Lord is Ajaha. The Jiva is also Ajaha. But in the transcendental platform, the Supreme Lord is the master, and Ajaha, small Ajaha, Jiva is his servant. So naturally, one has to serve the Supreme Lord if he want to get liberated, if he also want to come to the transcendental platform. So yam they begin the starter, Bhagavan, Visvabhavanaga, Samashena Harer Nanyat, Anasya, sorry, Anyasma, Satta Sapchayat. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation. My dear son, Atma explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and nominal existence.
So Narada Muni asked the question to Brahma, who is the fundamental base for this universe? From where it comes? Who maintains it? Who preserves it? Who is that ultimate master? Who is that ultimate fundamental basic truth? So now the questions are answered here, as we yesterday discussed, that the Lord plays a role of both Upadana Karan, Nimitta Karan in the matter of creation. He is decorated with all these transcendental qualities that we discussed again and again. Many slokas directly gave a list of his glorious qualities. Then he exhibited many great qualities in his different incarnations. So naturally, he is the fountainhead of this whole material and spiritual creation. So this Srimad Bhagavatam, it speaks about the glories of the Supreme Lord. This verse is very much important. Sloka number 51. So this particular Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken by Lord Brahma himself to his son Narada. Narada later on spoke this Bhagavatam to Vyasa. Vyasa then expanded it. So naturally, it's a very important verse. So Brahma gave instruction to Narada, and Narada gave instruction, similar instruction to Vyasadeva. Not only that, they taught the message of Bhagavatam, they spoke the glories of the Supreme Lord in Bhagavatam. They asked their successors to expand the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, to expand the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a very important verse. Based on the meaning of this particular verse only, Acharyas, they go on expanding, writing commentaries, more and more commentaries, writing on the different verses of Bhagavatam. Idam Bhagavatam Nama, Yenme, Bhagavatam, Sangrahoyam, Ubudina, Tubat Upulikuru. Yeah.
Haribol Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I had a question on 50, verse 50.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, what are nominal existences? What are asat existences? Because in the Sanskrit it says asat. What are nominal existences? I don't know what are nominal existences.
Phenomenal.
No, there is phenomenal and nominal existences, right? So
numinous. Okay. That particular point was explained by Prabhupada in one of the slokas in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Phenomenal means material, that you can perceive using your material senses, the glories of the Lord exhibited through the via medium of his external energy. Then again, the glories of the Lord exhibited through the via medium of his internal energy, subtle and mystic actually. So the two words are used in that connection. Numinous means subtle and mystical, and that cannot be perceived by.
So is that spiritual?
Prabhu?
Is that spiritual?
Yes, it is spiritual.
So nominal refers to spiritual existences.
Yes, the glories of the Lord. These particular same two wordings are used in the Bhagavad Gita actually. In one verse of Bhagavad Gita in Prabhupada's translation. So if you read the commentaries of Acharyas for that particular sloka, you can understand that. Phenomenal means glory of the Lord exhibited through the via medium of external energy, and numinous means glories of the Lord exhibited through the via medium of internal energy. Understand?
Probably the issue is that in the Sanskrit, Sat is referred to as manifested or phenomenal, and Asat is referred to as nominal. So
Satta Sat has two meanings, Prabhu. Satta Sat has two meanings. It has a meaning like temporary and permanent. That's one thing.
right.
Then again, Sat and Asat can be explained in this way also. Sat is internal energy. The internal energy plays the that is the Upadana Karan for the external energy. So Asat is external energy. You understand? Product
I
and
understood.
byproduct.
What I'm saying is, in the word by word, Sat is called as external energy, and Asat is called as internal energy. That's what I don't. It's kind of strange, but anyway, if you look at the word by word, Sat is manifested or phenomenal, and Asat is nominal. So basically, here in the word by word, it is saying that Sat is material and Asat is spiritual. Didn't make sense to me.
Correct. It can be whatever meaning comes to, you understand the point now, Prabhu. Sat means manifested energy. Asat means external energy. Then Sat means internal energy, of course. Oh, that you are coming. Sat means Prabhu says manifested, correct? Asat means Prabhu says numinous. Actually, the ulta is this, true, same. We Prabhu write like that actually.
Okay.
Because in this record, you have to refer to one sloka in Bhagavad Gita. What is that sloka? That's the first sloka of the Bhagavad Gita, one chapter actually.
7.2, Prabhuji. 7.1 and 2.
7.2 you have to refer, Prabhu.
1 and 2.
You compare this with that actually.
Okay.
Yeah. The same wordings are used actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody can read the translation of 51.
Translation. O Narada, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it was spoken as the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself.
It's a good observation, Prabhu. You observed correctly actually. Sat, Asat. Basically, Asat means manifested external energy. Why Prabhu write Asat means numinous. Please compare with that particular sloka, Prabhu. And then you come to me by message.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Same wordings are used, phenomenal and numinous there also. Fine. So this sloka number 51, it speaks about the mood of the Sampradaya. What's the mood of the Sampradaya? Brahma spoke the message of Srimad Bhagavatam just in 4 verses. Later on, Narada expanded it more. Then Vyasa expanded it to 18,000 slokas. So Prabhupada expanded it more and more. Of course, if you want to play a proper role in that particular disciplic succession, we have to expand the message of Bhagavatam more and more. Correct? The point is that as acharyas, successors acharyas, they expand the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam more and more. That was the order given by our primary acharyas. Upali Kuru means do preaching. Expand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam more and more. And preach it and spread the message of Srimad Bhagavatam everywhere. This Prabhupada often he speaks that he got his great service of writing commentaries for Srimad Bhagavatam is based on this particular verse also. Of course, many verses, these verses also. Sloka number 52. Yadaharo Bhagavati Nirnam Bhaktir Bhavishyadi Sarvatmani Ahiladare Idi Sankalpaya Varnaya.
Translated into. Please describe the signs of a Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service onto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being, and the Saman Bonum, source of all the energy.
You see, here Brahma gave some transcendental order to Narada. Then later on, Narada gave the same transcendental order to Vyasa. Correct? You're able to understand? The same order was given to, I think we studied in the 4th chapter of first kind of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he also just gave the same order to his disciple. So based on that particular order of his spiritual master, Vyasa composed this Srimad Bhagavatam. Maya Varna Yado Amushya. Isvarasyanumodadaha Srinvataka Sradaya Nidyam Maya Atmana Muhyadi.
The Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord.
So the Lord does his leelas, as we already discussed, with his internal energy through the via medium of his internal energy. That is known as Ruchira Leela. So the leelas done by the Supreme Lord, just in connection with his internal energy, is known as Ruchira Leela or Leela Avadaras. But the Lord does some pastimes in relation with external energy also. Like when he does Srishti Leela, surely he comes in contact with external energy and he does through the via medium of external energy. Then he does the Leelas in Gunavadaras also. So naturally, we have two kinds of Leelas, Ruchira Leela and Srishti Leelas. For neophyte devotees like ourselves, first we have to hear the Lord's Leelas in connection with external energy. That's more important. That will give more purification for ourselves. Because if we start hearing the internal pastimes of the Lord so much like Rasa Leela, first itself, we will start committing offense. So once we start get purified, then we have to hear so much Ruchira Leela. So two kinds of Leelas are there. Fine. So 7.2 in Bhagavad Gita, what it says, Prabhupada used the same words actually. 1 minute I will go. The same wordings are used by Prabhupada. We will compare it in this. 7.2. Yeah. Jnanam degasa viññānam idam vakshyāmi asesataha. There Prabhupada says, Jnanam means phenomenal knowledge. Then viññāna means numinous knowledge. Yeah. So this is based on Baladev Vidyabhushana's commentary. Jnanam, he says, the glories of the Lord exhibited through the via medium of external energy. Then he says, numinous means mysticism. That knowledge was refers to the realizations according to the Ruchira Leela pastimes exhibited through his internal energy. Why Prabhupada here translated in different way?
The words are different actually. In Bhagavatam, the word is nominal. Here it is numinous. So it's little different, Prabhuji. It's not the same word.
Prabhuji, I think the difference is that this is regarding knowledge, right? Jnanam and Vijnanam. So one is spiritual knowledge and one is material knowledge. But what this is talking about is Sat and Asat. So it is the
not material knowledge, bro. Not material knowledge. Krishna does not speak about material knowledge at all in Bhagavad Gita. It means the realizations and knowledge glories exhibited through the via medium of his external energy. That's all. It's not material knowledge. That's all. It's not avidya. Why this Prabhupada changed the wordings? That we will discuss, Prabhupada. Sure. Otherwise, we will ask the BBT. Sometimes they may have some mistakes also. Some mistakes are there surely in BBT. So we will discuss. Thank you for your close observation, Prabhupada. Thank you. Vansha halpadravya sarva sindhve yevacha parittanam bhavne vishnu